Hey folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome back to our Mods of the Week Spotlight series for Jurassic World Evolution 2. More like Mods of the Fortnight in this circumstance. Of course, last week we focused on Chao-dinisaurus' fantastic expanded paths and pylons mod, and that means today we're going to take a look at a couple others we've missed. We're only going to look at three-ish mods today, but one of them is a huge new species pack. It's very, very exciting stuff. A very quick disclaimer, mods can possibly break your game. If they do break your game, it's not my fault, it's not the mod maker's fault, and it's not Frontier's fault. Just be wary of it because things are changing very, very soon, and we never know how things will go when the game updates. One last bit of housekeeping before we get started as well. You'll notice on the top right of the thumbnail for this video, there's a little edit icon, like a little pencil in a green, yellow border kind of thing. That means it is a mod spotlight video. So going forward, if you see that in the corner of the thumbnail, it's a mod. And I don't want people to think it's like an update or something like that. So we did it last week, and I'm going to bring it up in the video today, and hopefully we can just kind of move forward with our lives, basically. So let's get started, and we're going to start with that pack that I mentioned. So Lucca, the very talented Lucca, has brought out a dinosaur species pack, bringing in 6 new species of dinosaur, and this is the Baja de la Carpa, probably butchered that, formation pack, which is a formation in northern Patagonia in Argentina. So 6 dinosaurs to check out. Let's get started with our, we've got 2 herbivores, I think, yeah, our only sauropod, Aveunator. It's obviously based somewhat on the Qianzhousaurus, but with a beautiful new skin. We've got these sort of osteoderms running down the back, these nodules, and then we've got a lovely jubbly facial design, just a really beautiful looking sauropod. We've got some wild coloration, you know, fairly nice tame coloration here, and then if you want like a mango, you've got a mango at the back. Let me move to the mango, there we go, then you've got a mango. Aveunator. I've got the name right? Aveunator is a titanosaur, actually quite a small titanosaur from the late Cretaceous. Late Cretaceous, you know, all these dinosaurs are really going to be late Cretaceous. Pretty small as titanosaurs go. Actually, interestingly, bears a lot of similarities, despite being a titanosaur, with the Diplodocus, Diplodocus, I suppose you'd say. It's got comb-like teeth, and it's got this sort of long, low skull, which is very Diplodocid. Diplodocid. I'm going with Diplodocid. I think it's Diplodocid. Anyways, yeah, really cool looking sauropod. It's very similar to the Qianzhousaurus. I think they'd make a really cool joint exhibit. One thing I love about a formation pack like this, though, is if you want to do like a mini park or something, focusing on a singular formation, actually build the formation in your park, you could do that with this pack really nicely. And you know, Lucca's going to bring something very, very high quality. You know, this is a dinosaur that just fits right into the game already. There are more exciting ones to come, though, so we're going to check out our first carnivore. This is Lluka-lkhan. I don't know how you pronounce the double L. Lucca. I'm just going to call it Lluka-lkhan. Lluka-lkhan. So, very interestingly, we have an abelisaurid here on the Herrerasaurus rig, given it's a much smaller abelisaurid, and you'll notice a few other changes as well. Let's talk about this. So, this is Lluka-lkhan, an abelisaurid whose name means, this is very cool, the one who causes fear. Like, why don't I have a name like that? That's baller. One who causes fear. Discovered a mere 700 meters away. So the skeletal for this, the skeleton, if you were talking English, was discovered a mere 700 meters from another abelisaurid that we'll see in a little bit. Paints a really interesting picture of their sort of life, I suppose, and how they would have lived in the same area. These 2 abelisaurids vying for food sources and stuff like that. Oh, calm down, lads. Let's move on to some of our other creatures. This is Mahuidacursor. I'm so sorry. Well, that's adorable. I have no idea what rig this is. I really, really like that sort of draping a quill very like individualized feather tail there at the back. I mean, that looks fantastic actually. That's really, I don't see that very often. I really like that. Mahuidacursor. So this is a ornithopod, a basal ornithopod. It's the mountain runner, and that is basically all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. There is very, very little information about this guy out there. This is not a much talked about dinosaur, but very cool to see. This is quite large considering the other, you know, if you compare it to say your Drysaurus, for example. This is a much larger dinosaur. Again, rendered really well. I don't know how they've rigged this at all. It's really impressive to me. Love that little bit of striping down there at the back. Oh, even a little bit of feathering there, and even we've got some eyelashes as well. Actually, only underneath the eye. No top eyelashes allowed, but we've got under eye eyelashes. Got a big bulky. This is not a dinosaur that skips chest day either. Look at that big bulky chest. Just, yeah, really well rendered, really well brought into the game as it always is with Lucca. Looks fantastic. The skins blend in really nicely. We've got a really good variety there. A little beak there. We've got the little furry, feathery details. A little bit more colour as well if you want to go in that direction. Right, next up we have Tratayenia. Tratayenia. So this awesome looking, oh, I love that skin as well. That's very sort of iguana, sort of green iguana sort of coloration. A fantastic looking dinosaur here. I really love that skull shaping and the little bit of patterning there under the eye. So on those bright red eyes just kind of pinpricked in the middle there. Very, very cool looking dinosaur. This is a Megaraptoran, discovered only a few years ago, back in 2018. And Tratayenia was likely the apex predator for the time and its formation, which is very similar to other Megaraptorans at the time in South America. In particular, the other South American Megaraptorans kind of took over and became the apex predators when the Carcharodontids went extinct. They kind of came out, the Megaraptorans came in, dominating, you know, the sort of live and nimble hunters. We've got those big claws, those massive sort of hanging low arms, as you can see. Unlike your many other theropods, which had teeny tiny little baby arms, Megaraptorans are absolutely stocked. I've got those long claws and long arms. And again, it looks really cool. We've got this variety of coloration. Love this color as well, actually. Like an avocado, like a slightly rotten avocado. Very, very cool. Yeah, just nice variety of colors. Again, looks really good, blends really well into the game. And I love seeing all this Megaraptoran in the game. We're going to see another one in a little bit actually on a different mod, and it's something we don't really have much of in the game at all, so it's really cool to just get a little bit more representation. Doesn't it look great in that? But it just works really well. Yeah, Luke's done a fantastic job here, and that's with 2 more dinosaurs still to go. So we're next going to check out Velocisaurus. Really interesting dinosaur name, that. Actually, when I googled this, Google was, did you mean Velociraptor? Is this a real thing? But Velocisaurus is, though, a real thing. Velocisaurus is a noasaurid. So this is kind of what I was getting at earlier, but this is a much more interesting version of it. So noasaurids are a family of dinosaurs very closely related to your abelisaurids, you know, your carnivores and stuff like that. And despite being closely related to the abelisaurs, you can see they've got kind of small arms. You can see they've got much more typical theropod sort of shaped bodies, you know, long and slim and sort of more normal head shape, and then the long sort of legs like that, and they don't have the weird little stubby abelisaurid arms. It's interesting just how evolution can diverge so greatly. Again, I love this little hint there of feathering, quilling, spiking there on the back of the neck, on the back of the head. Really subtle, but just gives it a little bit more character and detail. The texture work is superb across this entire pack, and I love this orange striping there against the green. That is a really cool looking dinosaur. You can kind of see as well, if we stop there, you can see how the jaw is kind of lilting forward here, which you, oh god, you're spooky little so on you. The jaw's kind of like tilting forward there at the front. These are, well, Mahuidacursor was also a noasaurid. So Mahuidacursor, which we all know, has those kind of splaying forward teeth, which we've seen sometimes uncovered, usually covered by lips, but we've seen them uncovered. Velocisaurus has the same kind of thing going on. Makes it really good for catching fish more than anything else, I believe, but also kind of makes it look like that fish in, I can't remember, that fish in some horror film I've seen. But anyways, very, very cool looking, very interesting, unique dinosaur. And again, a group we don't really have represented in Evolution 2, and I love seeing that fixed in modding. That's what modding should do. Right, let's go check out our other, Let's go check out our other hatchery. We've got one more dinosaur in this pack. This is Aveunator. Love that blue one on the right. Oh, look at it wiggling his arms around. So same kind of deal again. We've got a abelisaurid here, but again on the Herrerasaurus rig. The Aveunator is the other abelisaurid I mentioned earlier. So this and Lluka-lkhan lived together. They were discovered in a very, very close proximity, which again I think is just a really interesting thing to imagine these two dinosaurs. This one's the larger of the two, but still trying to coexist in the same environment. The Aveunator is closely related to Carnivore, but rather than that kind of, you see Carnivore and you think bulky, you think hard-hitting, and you think like a battering ram kind of thing, even if that's not always going to be the reality. The Aveunator was more... What's going on here? Oh, right. I thought it was going with the ornithopod there. The Aveunator was swifter and more agile and would have been nimble and darting around and much more focused on speed to hunt down its prey rather than anything else. But yeah, just another beautiful abelisaurid, really nice, interesting coloration. All the dinosaurs in this pack really stand out from each other as well, I think, in terms of the patterning and the colours. Obviously, the colours are set to random, but the fact that you can have this sort of neon blue kind of coloured abelisaurid and this neon red one makes it unique and makes it stand out. I love this one here with that blue and red. It's very Battlefield. Yeah. Good stuff. So big shout out to Lucca for that. Of course, I will link all these mods down below, but definitely go check out the Bajo de la Carpa, maybe, formation pack down below and give it a go for yourselves. 6 brand new species. Now, we're going to finish off things with a couple more dinosaurs, neither of which are new species, but both are cosmetics and interesting. So next up, it's, if I remember correctly, Qianzhousaurus, right? That's how you pronounce it. I believe I did research this a long time ago, but I've been very purposefully avoiding releasing this dinosaur until now. So Qianzhousaurus. The one on the right was a spooky little fellow, isn't it? So, Qianzhousaurus obviously already exists, but Master Duke has brought out basically a feathered equivalent. So this is just a cosmetic, a body morph for your existing one, and the idea is it's both feathered and also morphologically it's just a little bit more realistic. It's got a more appropriate body shape and sizing and stuff like that for the real dinosaur compared to the Frontier version, which I do deeply adore the Frontier version, by the by. This is just meant to be a slightly more paleo-accurate version if you wanted to go in that direction. The feathers aren't individual feathers, as you can see. We don't have like the coating on, say, the Theratosaurus. They are painted on, but I've got to say, it still works pretty well. It just gives it, especially from a distance, it just gives it this more sort of sleek, feathered kind of appearance more than anything else. It looks like oh, what are you... Oh, okay. This is a PG-13 channel, thank you. Are you gonna social on him? It's like you're considering it. Either you're gonna social on him or you're just broken. Just gazing into the ether. I'm not sure what's going on with that lass over there, but she'll be okay. Anyways, yeah, very cool, really nicely textured again. I think the feathers do work really well. I think they've done a really good job of that, especially, the patterning as well is very Frontier. Someone pointed out to me on Twitter the other day that Frontier do this sort of dapple pattern all the time, and now that I've seen it, it's on every goddamn dinosaur. I can't see anything else. They do it constantly, this kind of dappling effect you can see there. So, if nothing else, this looks very Evolution 2 appropriate. Right, last new species, and then one more mod after that. This is a Megaraptor. This is an interesting case. Let's release it and then we'll talk about it. Very cool, though. Man, that's awesome. So, you may recognize this Megaraptor. We're not going to talk too much about this. This is... So first of all, this is by Master Dude and GVFL, Game Videos for Life. And Master Dude brought out a Megaraptor mod that looked like this. And you may have seen that, we featured that on the channel a few months ago, whenever it was that it first came out. They then went back and brought out another mod, which is this one, and this is the Mattel Megaraptor, based on the Megaraptor toy that came out as part of the Jurassic World Dominion toy line that Mattel did. They brought out this really popular, really beloved Megaraptor toy that looks like this, with this sort of black and grey striping, beige striping, and then that sort of, it just turns into sort of crimson bloody red at the end. We've even got a little tail fan down there. It's a little annoying that it's decided to sit down, but we've got that tail fan there at the back looking really cool. That deep crimson colouring and that clash between the red and black made this a very, very popular toy. So they brought this out. But you need, to have this work, you need Master Dude's original Megaraptor mod. So this is a mod for a mod. Basically, you have to download the original Megaraptor, and then if you want to throw this skin on top, you then have to go download this skin as an extra, basically. Which it's just the concept of a mod for a mod is really interesting to me. But it looks really fantastic. The skin work is beautiful. It works really well on the model. It does feel like the toy come to life, but you know, updated. It's got extra details that obviously weren't present. And the mod was already fantastic, so throwing in this really, admittedly edgy skin, you know, but still my kind of thing. I'm an emo kid at heart, what can I say? Right, last thing we're going to check out. Now, I've kind of only not really made this work in the slightest, but there is a thing called Reshade. And I've been using Reshade on various games for many, many years. And if any of you have modded various video games, you may have dabbled with Reshade in the past. And Reshade is basically a post-processing program which throws in effects over the top of your programmer by hooking into the rendering engine. I'm kind of just making this up now, but it basically adds things. You can add depth of field, you can add bloom, you can add a ton of crazy effects. Ben Turner brought out a preset for Reshade, so you have to download Reshade, you download Reshade, and then you download the presets. And Ben Turner on Nexus Mods has brought out VHS Effect Pro, and the idea is it turns your Jurassic World Evolution 2 into Jurassic Park by sort of rendering it like you're watching, you know, an old bootleg VHS tape of Jurassic Park on your CRT TV. Now, it wasn't really working for me, so I've had to go in and do some edits of my own to try to get it a little bit more similar to how I think it should look. It didn't look like the screenshots. I'm not really sure why, probably my fault in terms of the installation, but I'll link it down below. You can give it a go for yourselves. And I've never shown Reshade for Evolution 2, so I wanted to take the opportunity to do so. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the version, and it is still very much Ben Turner's version, but I've just had to do a couple extra things. I'm going to hit Shift 2, I believe. Yeah, there you go. So let me turn off letterbox. There you go. So we've got this CRT effect around the side. We've got this sort of the lines, and the you can kind of see what I'm coming at, right? Oh, I'm on. Let me slow down time. There we go. It looks like an old CRT TV. I will say Ben Turner's version looks better. And this is partly Ben Turner's version. It's just a few extra things I've got wrong. But I think it's really effective, actually. That kind of dull, you know, you see the whites have been sort of faded out. We've got the CRT effects. We've got this little bit of blooming going on. You'll get some chromatic aberration. You can see there you've got the various lines here, the different colors coming through on the hatchery in particular. It's, yeah, you could definitely push this a little bit further if you wanted to, but I just think it's a really, generally speaking, a very cool idea. Yeah. But, yeah, that's Reshade. Definitely go try it out. If you can make Ben Turner's one work better, it's definitely better than what I just showed you, but it can make some really cool things. I think you could do, if you could kind of get it working perfectly, you could do like a really cool Jurassic Park tour video kind of thing, like kind of inspired by the original film, stuff like that. I think that'd be really fun. But yeah, that's something for another day. Until that other day, thank you very much for joining me. For those of you waiting on Planet Zoo, know that it is very much in the works. I had done 2 or 3 hours worth of work on it and then deleted all of it because I hated it. So it set me back a little bit. I was hoping to get it up tomorrow, but it's probably not going to be tomorrow, but it will be this week. The hope is definitely, it's definitely going to be this week. They've just announced the next update, and that's in like a couple of weeks. That's in 15 days. So I want to make sure we finish the tropical pack before then. So I am working on that, I promise. I've got started on a new version of the terribleness that I had done. And hopefully you'll see that soon. And obviously we'll be back with our Telltale Park at some point this week as well, and various other lovely jubbly things. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks very, very soon. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.